So guys, Igbo land is under siege. I mean, Igbo land is under siege. Ebonyi state, to be precise, is under siege. The question remains, do we have leaders? Do we have voices speaking for us? Do we have politicians who still have the progress of their people at heart? In Igbo land, all our politicians are quiet. Nobody is speaking. They are only after their own personal and political interest. The interest of the people is none of their concern. You can imagine that amidst this buying of people in Ebonyi state, guess what? The state governor went ahead to buy vehicles costing billions. Like this headline says, amidst rising buying in Ebonyi state, government splashes 8.3 billion on purchase of official vehicles. In the midst of this problem in Ebonyi state, the state government is busy announcing that they will be buying vehicles worth billions. So guys, the question is, who is speaking for us? Look at what is happening in the north. The northern leaders will negotiate for their people. Recently, the Kaduna state governor came out to say that they will be granting amnesty to bandits and that the federal government is going to be working with them to get these bandits rehabilitated, brought back to the society and all that. And also, we have seen all this kind of headline. Like you can see this one now says that security operatives meet bandits representatives in Katsina. This is a new headline. Like you can see, I circled the date with red. You can see it there on the 20th of January that the security operatives will be meeting with bandits representatives. So bandits have representatives in the north. They are speaking for them. Now Ebonyi state is under siege. People are quiet. No Igbo leader is coming out. Nobody is talking. Nigerians, what is happening in Igbo land? Let me allow you to take a look at how this man has analyzed what is happening. It's so painful to see that our people have been sold for nothing. They have been sold out for nothing. Just take a look for yourself.
Thank you very much for that very exciting, your presentation, and also with a view to unravel the mystery. Let's truth be told, the issue of farmer headers clash is a national menace that has thrown the entire nation into state of quagmire and also comatose. And it seems now that they are being overprotective in their act. Suffice to say now that we've gone through a lot of issues concerning farmer headers clash, issue of having ranch, a lot of, and recently we have a Ministry of Livestock, which is to deal with the issues. That tells you now that they've shown some preeminence in the way to do because of the kind of how they've been backed, the kind of audacity with which they use, which means throughout all the operation, none of them has been caught. None of them have been prosecuted. Of the quantum killing that spanned over a long years, none of them have been prosecuted. We only hear they were captured. At the end of the day, they were released because of politicking. So to the best of my knowledge, it's nothing new. It's ravaging the entire nation. Suffice to say, if you look at the North Central, it's been completely married, the Benue state, but there is a connotation in there, on the undertone in it, the ethnic clashes. There is a recent survey I did in my place as a community leader, because the issue is now a national menace. But let us now come and have a clear understanding. Understanding the sense that, do you expect cattle from Katsina to come straight to the place to start wearing? Of course, no. What we did in our own case was to pursue the owner of the cattle. We now realize that most of the cattle that are in the south belongs to southerners. They don't belong to the northerners because it's a lucrative trade. So you find that for people to have the audacity to come into a community and start wanton killing, there must be a kind of communal effort backing to do such a thing. How come they know the place? How come they know the house to do?
So are you suggesting that this is beyond someone in business trying to wear their cattle?
It goes beyond. It's just like when you say Boko Haram, when you say Lakurawa. It's a surface thing, it's a coloring effect. The undertone is exploitation of mineral resources. It's the same thing that we're having. The issue of farmer clash has a lot of ethnic clashes, ethnic connotation in it. You find out that at the end of the day, two communities were involved. Ishi people, which are peace-loving people, they've not reacted, and also the F-Night, which is F-Rom community, the community where the attack emanated from. You will see now that it is a condition of ethnic clashes. It's also a kind of revenge mission.
If you say revenge mission, you are still not addressing the issue as people suggesting that these were Fulani herdsmen.
Hold on.
This happened in the southeast.
Hold on. I said
state.
It is farmer headers clash. It's Fulani herdsmen. I'm saying now that Fulani herdsmen does not exist in a vacuum. They ride on what we call special purpose vehicle. It is Fulani herdsmen. That is the coloration. That is the idea that was sold to people that came to attack. Is that not so? But beyond that, they say if there's no smoke, there will not be fire. And I'm not saying now that let's come to a point of reason. Point of reason is that you expect Fulani herdsmen to come from Katsina, from Maiduguri, and come and start killing people. The major issue is that what really resulted to this issue were IPOB members in the forest that they killed in the ravaging in the forest, and through that they now migrate to the community. That shows now that there must be a kind of inroad into it. Farmer said that these Fulani herdsmen don't just come and ravage.
So are there some sort of mercenaries?
Oh yeah, the machinery and the incursion is through the community. Some errand of some rascal within the community. Let me tell you, if you don't know how the setup is, you can't come and say you want to leave. You must have interacted with somebody. Somebody you must, and many a time down, they pay some ransom to this indigent. If there's no hole in the wall, thought cannot just enter. Is that also? The ravaging we're talking about is Fulani herdsmen. They've come to kill, to maim, because some of them carry most sophisticated weapons. I'm saying now that they ride on what we call special purpose vehicle. How did they come into the community? I said this study was saying we unraveled into where we had a similar case in Ogun State. We were saying they come to destroy a crop. We now carry out the due diligence to understand that they didn't just come. They must have been there on a survey. They must have been there getting to know some few people.
Oh, okay, let me cut you there. If you say that they must have been there to get some survey, that means that there's a possibility of these people being Fulani herdsmen.
They are Fulani herdsmen. I'm saying they are Fulani herdsmen.
So you're saying that they're working hand in hand with
some radical community member.
So what will have been the interest? What will have been the purpose for indigenous?
Commercial. Most of the cattle we are talking about belong to the indigenous of the southeast people. They don't belong to the north. Can we imagine if you put like thinking, will somebody just carry his own cattle from Katsina, from Maiduguri, straight to Katsina? Traversing the lorry. Most of these cattle belong to those. We actually trace our own. Similar case occurred in Abeokuta. In that caused a kind of collaboration within Professor Shoyinka. They actually traced to understand that the owner of the cattle that were roaming about, they belong to the south, to the people in the indigenous. So what we're saying, it is a farmer headers class. Fulani herdsmen, but Fulani herdsmen do not exist in vacuum. They don't just come, wake up from Sokoto, from Katsina, from Maiduguri and say they're already. They must have carried survey. There must be an exchange of idea. There will be some erratic individual within the community that actually give them, that sold the entire community out for them to come and attack. How come they came as at that time? You understand? To start killing. How come they came? They were specific in what they're doing. How come they say when they came to attack, a lot of people went to them, and some of them were in the bush to attack? How come? How come you have such an organized crime, killing people, wanton destruction of life and property? Okay,
you think that it's a well-planned attack?
It's a orchestrated attack. Well-planned, orchestrated. And it is a farmer headers class. The idea is to maim, to kill, and to dominate the place. Suffice to say, there were compromises. We are talking about all these areas are interior rural area. That is not mutual.
Something like this happened in Owo,
okay,
where we had people invade Owo town some years back and killed people. And there were allegations that, oh, Fulani herdsmen have gotten into the southwest and all of that. Would you say that that was well orchestrated too? It was well orchestrated. At the end of the day, most of the people are within the south. Some of them come, some of them from Kwara, some of them from Owo itself. What I'm saying is a criminal gang. And criminal comprises of a lot of people who are gang members. I'm saying now that the community members are involved. The Fulani men don't act in isolation. They are well orchestrated. The idea is to want to dominate any area they will have a green vegetation. And most of the green vegetation are owned by people. People sold out. I'm confirming that there is a selling out of some of the Caspian community members to give way to them. When they come, like they dominate the place. But to what end? Because why would an Igbo man from Ebonyi sell out his own people to herdsmen because he wants what exactly? Let me tell you, okay, the same question you're asking. I'll ask, why will people in my community sold out and invaded the land of some people that plant their mansion, they plant cassava, plant and they destroy? It's for commercial gain. It's purely for commercial. They call it business. It's a business. They have a commercial gain. I'm saying that Fulani don't just wake up from where they are and come to the place and start destroying. If there's no smoke, there will be no fire. I'm saying it's still farmer header style, but it has ethnic coloration, ethnic clashes, and it's a revenge mission. Okay, let's take more details into the story, because this is a very sad one. When we talk about people, I mean, the life of every Nigeria is very, very important. And when things like this happens over and over again, you begin to question the position of the government, the security agencies, and of course, the leadership of those communities. But in another development, the traditional ruler of Nkalaha community, Igwe Thompson Ebe, said that he had written a report to the governor and copied security agencies because the problem did not just start today. He said that this problem started on January 20th till 31st of January. So these are heavy allegations for a community leader to have suspected that something was wrong and written to the governor of the state. I mean, because some are saying that the presence of the deputy governor coming to say that she's giving the security agencies 24 hours to fish out the people that have perpetrated such evil. What's the connection between traditional rulers and the governor? How much respect is given to the office of the traditional ruler, and how much audience is given to them too? Because I mean, they are supposed to be like a face of the government who has direct contact with his own people. So why should he write to the government, to the governor, to security agencies, and nothing was done till this evil was perpetrated?
Thank you for that. In the olden days, the kings, the bailiffs, are the chief security of their domain because they know in and out of the place and they have their ears to the ground. That is how it's been done. That's why we're even working out that there must be integration of community of the king of the town, the community leader, into the security network to form a non-kinetic aspect of engagement.
Have they never been a part of it?
They are on the surface level. They have not been totally recognized by constitution. There's no enabling law that really give them the impetus and the protection to do what they're supposed to do. It is just concern. Suffice to say, some of the kings are also compromises because of the commercial gain. What happened is this: a community leader is like the chief operating or chief security officer of the place. You know, they have their own people, vigilantes group on the town. They have the people who conduct local intelligence network for them in the town. So the community that holds a lot of information. So therefore, before it happened, some of them they are brazen enough to alert the government of the day. Remember, the government of the day, the chief of security officer is the governor of the day. He's supposed to provide social welfare and also security of the people. But we find out that because of protocol that's involved, because of the chain of command, many a time the information don't get to the governors. And you find out
so it's always to blame that the information don't get to the governors. Because if a traditional ruler can not have access to the governor, then how bad is the situation with ordinary citizens?
Remember, the community leader we are saying, they have the direct line of the line of responsibility towards the local government chairman. They don't have access because governors they have protocols you have to go through. And I told you now that this is an orchestrated network.
Protocols when it's about the lives of people, because this is a heavy allegation here where he said that he had written reports to the governor and copied the security agency. Should we then say that the governor should be liable for the lives lost?
We're not going to confirm that until due diligence is paid. In fact, there's another school of thought that said the youth wing of Ohaneze Indigbo also informed the governor 4 days before the attack. Let me be frank with you. Whenever issues of this come out, people want to show a level of ascribe some level of importance to themselves. You'll be hearing like they say community leader did it. They say youth wing of the Indigbo did. But the question we're saying, if a community leader has the time to lodge a complaint, we're saying what is his sole responsibility? Also, he is supposed to be able to offer some local intelligence to actually call for reinforcement when it happens like that. So everything, the chain of command, for instance, the entire value chain, they have their blame. They should have their blame. From the community leader, from the village clans, from the local government, before it gets to the state government. All of them, there's love. Incidentally, you find out that most of these areas we're talking about are remote areas that have no road. Accessing it has been the problem. Even the military surveillance network also have the same problem because they will see the roads are not good and to have access is a lot of problem. And many of these people, the people we're talking about, the Fulani herdsmen, there's a lot of heavy intelligence on what they do. The entire Southwest, entire Nigeria have been surveyed.
So this is quite embarrassing if we agree that these herdsmen have high intelligence. Should it be bigger than what our security agencies have? Let me be frank with you.
I've told you, it's their criminal gang. They've conducted so. Do you even know that some of them, they hold phone, they communicate with them, they have a network? They communicate as far back to high and mighty. Suffice to say, during the time of Jonathan, he apparently became public that there are some people who are headsmen, Fulani headsmen in this cabinet. What happened as at that time? Every successive government, they give them preeminence. For instance, the federal heads, when they have their association, are very strong. In fact, they have a political their political heavyweight in determining what will happen. They are, they are revered. I am saying now that for the time they've been killing, maiming, had there been any prosecution? Had any of them gone to incarceration? Has any of them been jailed? In fact, the army defense came that many a time when they get some of those, when they get some of those people, profile them. By the time they receive one, because the army itself cannot just come and prosecute. They are meant to interface. I'm saying the highest people that are to defend the territorial integrity of the nation. They also cannot do not have the power to prosecute. What they can do is to profile and refer to the case for proper adjudication in customary court. But because I told you, it's a racketeering of criminal gang. And the high and mighty also, who is not interested in making money. This is transactional. This is a money-making machine. So which means almost the high and mighty. Otherwise, how has the trade been sustained up till now that there's no single prosecution?
Okay, with your submission now, would you agree that the government has consistently failed the Nigerian people?
There's no gainsaying. The failure is imminent. Most of the security we are talking about, they are at the surface level. The interior is not well protected. The territorial integrity is heavily compromised. That's why we have the armed forces overrun now. The question now is this: what is the do? Security interface ought to occur about 4 levels. That's why the quest for us to have a regional police, a state police, a community police becomes evident by the compromises we are talking about. In any town, the village surveillance people that go, the vigilantes that are there. In fact, in most of our towns too, we also organize the hunters to come and start trying to defend. It's happening in our own area, which is Ijebu. So what we're saying is the chain of command is broken. There's complicity in the gang. It's a criminal gang. You'll be surprised that how come the community leader in the place is saying he wrote. If he has time to write to the governor to intimate the governor, does it mean that after hearing the information he folded his arms? Whereas the local vigilantes are there, there's a police station there, the army formation there. That tells you there's a compromise. When issue comes that people begin to raise issue in order to claim some level of importance, to be able to claim some level of importance, to be able to say I contributed, I tried my best. But the best is not enough because people's lives were involved.
This is a governor who was Speaker of the House of Assembly since 2015 up until he became governor in 2023. One would have thought that he should understand the system better, being a lawmaker himself. So it's not about not having access to the House, not having access to the Assembly. You just said that a lot of people will come out to make, stories around the issue that has happened just to say that they've made their voice heard. But that is not enough to exonerate the governor.
Let's be frank. I told you the complicity is throughout the value chain. Everybody is complicit until they prove otherwise.
Even at that, the governor is the #1 citizen
of
that state.
I said everybody in the value chain. If you say value chain, it means the chief security officer, there's a complicity in the unit. The commissioner in charge of security, there's a complicity. Even the entire security interfaces. Because here we say crocodile fight, Telecom fight, almost there's complicity. For instance, if you don't lower the edge, can serpent bite? No. Until we begin to probe, we begin to see who actually lowered the edge.
So how does this probe happen when the whole system feels like it's been infiltrated?
Let me be frank with you.
How do we move on from here?
Most of the probe, they are surface probe. You will agree with me, even some of the politicians you are saying, they are only politicians in the glass house. How many of them visit the interior? Is it not stomach infrastructure? Some of them use the step of stomach infrastructure to be there. I know some of them don't even go to their community. Talk less of the village. At least, as a community leader, I'm very close to our police. When they come, they only go to the town hall. How many of them visit the village?
Okay, we need to wrap up on this story and move to the next. So, what's your thoughts on the deputy governor's visit and, of course, our statement that she's giving the security agencies 24 hours to fish out the suspects? It's almost 24 hours.
It's purely political. After all, they now place ransom to find the killer. Is it medicine after death? Which means the lowering of the edge is throughout the entire value chain.
So who protects an average Nigerian? How does
let me be frank with you. Our life is in the hand of God. Let's be frank. How come the nonsense actor carries sophisticated gun and yet people are not licensed to carry gun. Even the security interfaces they're talking about, which is police, they have obsolete equipment. How do you explain that? So what we're saying is this: until people come together in unity to discover the hole within the community. I told you the same thing. We got to carry out the investigation in my own community to understand how did they find their way in. Where is the weak link? We now discover some people compromise. And then having compromised, we still have to conduct investigation further to see the extent, because you can't just, until you have a proof of evidence, you can't arrest.
On this strike, we are going to boycott services after the committee's findings. Otumba Fagbemi, Odugbemi, sorry. Does it seem like a norm to you? Was it expected?
Interestingly, it's a familiar ground. I have worked with MTN for more than 13 years before retiring. Let's be frank, NLC, sometimes they indulge in nullity. Is it their purview? And if there are issues that has to do with the labor force, labor issue, this same NLC, they can say they want to fight against the hike. Take for instance, when there were issues of contract staff that have stayed for 10, 15 years in the same telecom company, why can't the NLC carry out their fought for them? As far as I'm concerned, NLC have indulged in strike because they believe it's a normal thing, but it doesn't fall within their jurisdiction. Let me be frank with you.
They might be speaking for the people. I mean, it's supposed to be...
They can only speak when it comes to labor issue. They're talking about welfare. Even up to today.
About Nigerian labor, labor.
Hold on now.
Okay.
Even the labor you are talking about, the minimum wage, some states are not paid such.
Exactly. A lot of
so those are the issues they show. This is about a private network, indigenous people who are investors. You can't come in and say they must go to 5%. The question we're saying is this: labor do not have the purview. They don't have the temerity to determine the percentage they should go. Rather than I expect them to come in and open that, okay, before you go, just go into analysis of the book, so that it is not the agency for the NCC that is supporting the corporate fraud. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If what I expect them to do is to say it is true, you intend. NCC negotiated with it.
Okay, so if you're talking about this corporate fraud, a possibility of corporate fraud, do you think that there are possibilities of this agency?
Yes, there can be regulator and the service provider, regulator aiding the corporate fraud. That is aiding.
What do they stand to gain?
Oh, yeah. You know, when it is purely transactional, I don't trust any Nigerian in any position. Let me be sure. We are strongly a capitalist nation. That should be told. But let us now come to discuss the real matter. I agree with the fact that yes, if NLC stood in the point, they are talking of minimum wage. Minimum wage is 70,000 now. If they come in to analyze in terms of how much per call they make, and they find out that it's going to hit the bottom line, you understand. Remember, we are talking about it is not government they are fighting. How can you? I'm a service provider. I incur some expenses, and I'm saying for me to break even, there might be negotiation, but the negotiation is subject to looking into the books. Take for instance,
okay,
over 10 years, you know what has changed? Forest has changed. The forest they used to be around 450 has gone to 1,700. Naira devaluation now has hit between 40 to 70%. Forest issue, because some of the equipment they buy, which is what we call auxiliary equipment, they are all imported. For more than 10 years, they kept their faith. They did not increase the price. In fact, in terms of rebates, they did not increase the price. So if they say they want to increase, in order, for instance, this telecom company, most of the banks owe them huge sum of money. Are you aware? USD, they offer platform. Without their platform, without their data services, can anything work?
But if they have been owed by banks like you just alleged now, should Nigerians be responsible? Should we be made to pay for this?
We are not saying, I'm only saying that they are almost in finance. MTN lost the shareholders fund. What we're saying is, it is services they are providing. What Nigerians should say is that if you want to increase, then you must have a change in the class of service. I expect Nigeria, if I say for me to meet qualitative service to you, it happened. There are variations that are involved in any contractual agreement. It is acceptable within the contract purchasing agreement. What we're saying is, for you to come and say you want to increase, there must be some criteria that you look into. How is it going to affect the quality of service? You know, just like you have power. You know, the band A, band B, band C.
Right. The
difference between those categories is availability. Is that not so? Band A are supposed to pay more. In fact, we're saying now that 25% of the high net worth even enjoy the benefit. Because some of them at that level don't even pay anything.
Okay, let me say something that, Joe Ajero, after that meeting, he spoke with some journalists and he pointed out the fact that there was a meeting because initially it was established that there was supposed to be a 100% increment. And after bargain and conversations, with some government agencies, they were able to bring it down to 50%. That's an argument from a particular sect. And now he is saying that if there should be a bargain, if anyone should be on that table, it should be a stakeholders set. And if we're having a set for stakeholders, the NLC is an important part of any industry in this country. So do you think that the NCC going ahead to have agreement, having conversations, agreeing on bringing from 100 to 50% was not right constitutionally, not involving the NLC?
They have the prerogative they are the regulator. But the question is, when it comes to final vetting, they can involve the stakeholder. What we're saying, before they come to 50, they must have gone into bookkeeping to understand the basis of why they want to increase.
But the NLC should be involved.
I'm saying is it. No, it's the second level of the. You cannot work, you cannot operate in the same way as the regulator. The question is, it is the subscriber that will validate the outcome of the regulator to service provider discussion, the engagement. For instance, Ministry of Digital Innovation, also they were involved in course of discussion. The NCC was involved. Ministry of Digital and Innovation were also involved in their own stakeholder because they are regulating the industry. But when it comes to now implementing it, then stakeholders engagement, they need the buy-in of the stakeholder. I'm saying now that yes, labor is an important element, but the labor is fighting a lost battle. In the sense that it's not the labor matter. Is it in their constitution to fight with private organizations? The only thing they're supposed to do is to talk about when issue has to do with labor. But when it comes to issue of consumer, it's the Federal Consumer Protection Agency that should be involved.
And what if they are not doing their job? The
issue is this. Then there's a need to call for all engaging stakeholders, not labor taking it as their prerogative to insist that it must 5%. It is not right.
Okay, but on this suspension, did you see it coming? Do you think that labor is serious enough to put a threat to whether the federal government or the private sector, and people should be worried when this Joe Ajaro's led NLC strikes?
Princess, why are you trying to be more Nigerian than Nigeria itself? Even in their own chorus, when didn't they fail? They failed. Even in their quest for minimum wage, they are now telling us that they didn't negotiate. They obey the president, that they give a caveat that subject to when there's an increase, they will raise to 750 from 750. They were demanding for 400 and something. You remember at the initial stage?
Right.
Before they came back to 100 and something. They now came back to 70. They signed the agreement. They were saying now that the government itself deceived them. Look, to the best of my knowledge, NLC of this country, they are jesters.
When you say NLC of this country, are you referring to this particular
Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC?
I mean, we had former governor of Edo State, Comrade Oshiomhole.
The man understood the negotiation and transactional aspect of business. He engaged into profitable discussion, not insisting and being autocratic on saying it must be. There's no it must be when it comes to a commercial transaction. We have to, if for instance, Labour come to a point of what are the Labour talking about? The excuse they are giving is that the telecom company made a lot of money in the past. What did they do? Remember, the penetration was 25%. It has now come to 75%, increasing the wide subscriber base, which means there are huge investment in infrastructure layout. Even if you look at the current dispensation, that we say are giving reasons, the naira devaluation, the forex value, and quite a lot of the devaluation, forex value, and also the pressure of demand for forex, also give them the impetus to say they want to adjust. But coming to say it is 50, I believe it should face-to-face approach, not coming to for a high stake in view of the pressure on the teeming population.
All right, thank you very much, Otunba Kenny Odubemi. Very insightful submission, I must agree. I appreciate your time on the show tonight. Well, it's for Nigerians, for the people, the everyday people, you and I, we at Voice of the People Television are always here to discuss issues that affects you and I, and on what is happening in Ebonyi State. We do hope that security agencies swing into action and get the culprits in this case. And for the NLC, we hope that, after the committee's meeting, we hope that there's a different news we would be hearing. But that's how we wrap it up on the show tonight. We will be here to do the same tomorrow, same station, same time. I am Adefunke Jarisimi. Good evening.
Thank you.
The incident, the death toll has risen to 15, while many people are still declared missing in the community. The suspected armed herdsmen on Sunday invaded the community, killing at least 10 persons and burning houses. But the recent report indicated that more bodies have been recovered in the bush, while many natives were still missing in the villages. Recent development says that the deputy governor of the state, Princess Patricia Obila, who visited the community, gave the security agencies 24 hours ultimatum to ensure that they fish out the suspected killers who killed 15 innocent citizens in 3 villages of the Nkalaha community. I mean, before we get into the details of the reaction of the deputy government, the governor, the gesture, and what the intentions are, suspected herdsmen in a community, ravaging about 3 villages in that community, killing up to 15 people. And this happened on Sunday. This is over 48 hours already, and it's still the news of people being missing, people dead, and not even one indication as to possibilities of having suspects in this killing. What exactly should be the fate of the people in the community? Because a lot of people are fleeing their homes already. Because it looks like what is the priority of the government to secure the lives of the citizen is not being assured.
So guys, Igbo land is under siege. I mean, Igbo land is under siege. Ebonyi state, to be precise, is under siege. The question remains, do we have leaders? Do we have voices speaking for us? Do we have politicians who still have the progress of their people at heart? In Igbo land, all our politicians are quiet. Nobody is speaking. They are only after their own personal and political interest. The interest of the people is none of their concern. You can imagine that amidst this buying of people in Ebonyi state, guess what? The state governor went ahead to buy vehicles costing billions. Like this headline says, amidst rising buying in Ebonyi state government splashes 8.3 billion on purchase of official vehicles. In the midst of this problem in Ebonyi state, the state government is busy announcing that they will be buying vehicles worth billions. So guys, the question is, who is speaking for us? Look at what is happening in the north. The northern leaders will negotiate for their people. Recently, the Kaduna state governor came out to say that they will be granting amnesty to bandits, and that the federal government is going to be working with them to get these bandits rehabilitated, brought back to the society, and all that. And also, we have seen all this kind of headline. Like you can see this one now says that security operatives meet bandits representatives in Katsina. This is a new headline. Like you can see, I circled the date with red. You can see it there on the 20th of January. That the security operatives will be meeting with bandits representatives. So bandits have representatives in the north. They are speaking for them. Now Ebonyi state is under siege. People are quiet. No Igbo leader is coming out. Nobody is talking. Nigerians, what is happening in Igbo land? Let me allow you to take a look at how this man has analyzed what is happening. It's so painful to see that our people have been sold for nothing. They have been sold out for nothing. Just take a look for yourself.